My name is Chelsea Shawless and I'm a dietetic intern at UTMB. My presentation is on the nutritional management of PKU. The objective of this presentation is for my audience to understand what PKU is and its nutritional requirements. I'm going to share the latest research in this presentation on the best practices and the developments in the dietary management of PKU. I want them to recognize the main challenges and some tips for diet management for this disorder. PKU is an autosomal genetic recessive disorder, meaning that both copies in the cell have a mutation and both parents have a copy. So if a father and a mother are both a carrier, the child has a 1 in 4 chance of having this disorder. This disorder is a deficiency of the liver enzyme phenylalanine hydroxylase, which this enzyme hydroxylates phenylalanine to tyrosine, which are 2 amino acids. And it inhibits the action of the transport of free L-amino acids that are necessary for protein and neurotransmitter synthesis. So where it says phenylketonuria, that is where the enzyme is supposed to be active. And like I said, it hydroxylates phenylalanine to tyrosine. So whenever that doesn't work, phenylalanine will build up in the blood and it can become harmful and dangerous to the individual. The problems if it's untreated, the patients will have progressive, irreversible neurological impairment during infancy and childhood, so it's really important that you start treatment as soon as possible. And then signs and symptoms of this, even whenever they get older, if they don't keep their Phe levels in check, anything in this box can happen to the individual. So for the phenylalanine and tyrosine levels, you want to keep your target blood Phe between 2 and 6 milligrams per deciliter. And the requirements for women are a little bit different. You want to keep your Phe and Ty ratio. So that means that since endogenous production of tyrosine and intact protein intake are greatly limited, you have these medical foods that are supplemented with tyrosine to keep these levels up. Because if you limit protein completely, the treatment for this is nutritional management is the main treatment. It's where we come in. And you have to have protein-restricted diets. You supplement this with medical formula or GMPs, and then low protein modified foods. There's also large neutral amino acids or Phe block and sapropterin, or also known as CoV. Large neutral amino acids compete for transport across the blood-brain barrier with phenylalanine. So whenever phenylalanine is elevated, it impairs the uptake of other large neutral amino acids. So if you supplement these, it can increase competition at the barrier and hopefully keep your Phe levels down. So this is a good option for adults not in good metabolic control, but it isn't recommended for young children or pregnant women. Pharmaceutical approach is the Kuvan medication or sapropterin dihydrochloride, which is a synthetic form of the cofactor tetrahydrobiopterin or BH4. And this cofactor works on the enzyme activity of phenylalanine hydroxylase. So it stimulates this enzyme. In some patients, this can have a big effect on them and have them be able to eat more protein in their diet and get more Phe. However, it has some effects. It doesn't have any effect on some other patients. So it's very dependent on if they react to it or not. Here are the recommended intakes of phenylalanine, tyrosine, and protein intake for individuals with this deficiency. However, you can see the ranges are pretty wide, so it's very dependent. You just have to monitor and see based on their Phe levels. You have to see how much they actually can have. This is one of the harder things for patients to do, to track their Phe intake. There's a few different methods that they have done. Some people count the milligrams of Phe using a PKU reference guide, which has different foods on it and the exact amount of Phe that these foods do contain. However, in this guide, it doesn't have every single food that they're going to be consuming, so it can be pretty difficult because different brands and companies have different levels, even if it could be the same food. You could count exchanges of Phe. This is kind of like the diabetic exchange system. There's similar ideas, whereas 15 milligrams of Phe equals 1 exchange, just to help them keep track throughout the day of how much they've had. And then some people also count grams of protein. This isn't as accurate, but it's also more efficient and easier to do for a round approximate answer, whereas 1 gram of protein equals 50 milligrams of Phe. However, you know that this could also have some downfalls in the food system because on the dietary labels, some things may have like 0.5 grams of protein, but they don't have to put that. They can put 0 grams of protein. So that could still have a lot of fee in that product and they wouldn't know. You want to avoid the foods rich in protein. These are foods such as your meat, fish, eggs, dairy products, standard breads, nuts, and seeds. Some low tolerance patients, however, they also have to avoid foods such as pasta, cereals, chips, and snacks. And here's the monitoring system. Since we're taking out a natural source from your diet, you have to watch out for levels that you can become low in, because limiting these natural food causes a potential for nutrient deficiencies. So this is just a list of things that these individuals monitor and how often as they age. For these individuals to meet their nutritional requirements, since they're limiting all of this protein, they have to get it from the medical formula, which is their primary source of protein equivalents. However, since it's not natural, it's absorbed and oxidized more rapidly. So these individuals actually have to have, like, they don't go by the DRI protein since it is oxidized more rapidly, so their needs are actually higher. And these formulas are supplemented with tyrosine, so they still get that in their diet. They're supplemented with vitamins and minerals, and the infant formulas are supplemented with long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids. The medical formulas are classified by age and composition of the formula, such as the calories, fats, and proteins, to help better meet each individual's needs. Here are examples of some of the formulas. In the top left corner, these are the pre-measured packets. It already has a set amount, so you just pour it in with the water. And below that, these are the ones where you have to measure out the formulas with a scoop or a gram scale. Up in the right corner are the micro tabs. These are just basically like little pills. They have to take a set amount of cap fills. And then in the bottom are the ready-to-drink pouches. So they have came out with a lot of different various forms of this formula, so it's making it a lot easier for patients than it used to be. The glycomacropeptides, or GMPs, this is an intact whey protein, and it's natural and food derived. It has better protein utilization because it does have the natural form. However, there is small trace amounts of Phe, so it can't be used for everyone. It's about 2 to 5 milligrams per 1 gram of protein. However, people with and here's a table that just classifies medical foods by the nutrient profile, energy and protein ratio, the different forms they have, and then it has even like the different products designed for the infants, children, and adolescents, which is very, very useful for a dietitian to help their patients get started out on formulas. So the main challenges for PKU patients, the main one is the smell and taste of the formula. It's hard for them to drink this every day, more than once a day. The formula can be very filling. Transitioning to different formulas, if they have to change to a different one, this can be hard because they get used to the same one, so a new one might not taste as good to them, and it can be very hard for them to switch. The tracking Phe and the formula intake can get confusing, and if you're out to eat, it's harder to track things. It's hard to get the parents to get the children to be compliant with this, because they often don't want to take the formula and they feel different than other children, so it can be definitely very difficult. And then, as you just saw, the low protein foods are very costly. So there are some tips and tricks that I have found to help improve the taste of these formulas. You can use different drink recipes to flavor them. You can make like a smoothie out of them. I found that one patient was able to drink her formula using Mio, which is a water flavoring. She said it really helped mask the taste a lot more. So just whatever really works for the individual. Some people use chocolate syrup, tang, or carbonated beverages as well. Drinking the formula cold has been shown to help. Some patients make it into slushies as well. And you don't want to introduce regular milk to patients, because whenever they have this, it's just going to make their formula seem like it tastes a lot worse. So to make it a little bit easier for these patients, tracking the Phe and formula intake can be very difficult and time consuming. So Using a gram scale for the formula is a good idea. This doesn't only help the patient, but also the dietitian whenever doing their prescription, because rather than calculating how many scoops or doing like a half of the scoop, you can just measure it all out on the gram scale and you know that you have the exact amount that you need. Mixing the formula out for the whole day is also very helpful because you only have to do it once rather than seeing how many different bottles per day. You just have all of it and then can portion out your sizes for whenever they want to have each drink. And you can also see how much they've drank for the day. So in case you forget if you gave a bottle earlier, you already know because it's coming from one whole container. And you can use sticker charts to help. This also makes it a little bit more fun for the kids, so they feel like they accomplished something kind of whenever after they've done it. They can put a sticker on the chart and see how many they still have left to go for the day. And then you can also keep diet records. This can help whenever you get a little bit older and are drinking or eating food as well. One of the patients used MyFitnessPal, so she would put in all the foods that she ate every day plus her formula, and then that way the dietitian could also see what she was eating and then compare it to her weekly levels that she would get for her fee and see where, whenever her levels were a little bit higher, what she ate that day that may have caused that, or whenever they're in good range, she can go by that and see that's probably what she should be eating. So it makes it nice to see and laid out for her. For the compliance, you want to get your children involved with preparing the formula. Whenever they're more involved, they don't feel like it's such a task to do it. It just becomes part of their daily habits. And you want to be positive and encouraging. You don't want to make them feel like it is a chore, like I just said. You want them to just know that it's a part of what they have to do, and it just makes it easier that way. And you can provide rewards. It's not a bad thing, because they are different than other kids, and they don't understand that. So giving positive rewards can help. There are cooking classes available for PKU patients, and these cooking classes, they just cook low protein food recipes, and it allows other people to meet patients just like them, which is nice for them to get to experience. Also, PKU camps. The one that I know of is Camp Fever, and this camp is for all PKUers, and they all get to go and just meet kids like them, and it can help them feel like they're not different for once, and it just makes them realize that there are other people out there like them. There's low-protein grocery shopping guides available for Trader Joe's and Whole Foods. During my rotation, I actually created one for HEB as well. So this just helps it makes it easier for patients to go through. They already know what has low fee levels just off your shopping guide, which makes it seem not as overwhelming whenever they go in there. They have something to go off of. And there are also support groups out there for patients.